Okay, so we're trying to see on Megan's love life tonight. If the husband and her are going to be a good match, essentially, with kind of like getting back together.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm hearing a couple of different phrases, and you can let me know if they like resonate or not. I'm hearing something like almost like you're too stubborn to change. Whoever it is you're trying to get with, you're almost like, are they gonna be more flexible with me? Um, this sounds weird, but is there like an attention problem? Is he like, I need a lot of attention, or just like,
Attention. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That feels like that is a problem with him, not you. Um, so somebody's coming in very clear. You have a really strong spiritual team, and they're like, it's almost like he gaslit her into thinking that he wanted you to be like up his ass. You're my world, my personality.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to break away from. And somebody comes in and is like, he says he's ready. He says he's ready to like be different, but he has to demonstrate those different habits,
Yeah.
right? Um, so the first card you pulled in regards to this is the Fool. And the Fool does talk about new beginnings and new things opening up. So it is a positive card, but don't, in its name, there is kind of like be careful with going into new things, right? And this can be careful in going into a new job, be careful in, either reconnecting or getting into a new relationship. I always see this card as a be careful signing a contract again card. Like, because this is something, it's always something you really want. We really want it at the end of the day, but don't let your naivete or your naiveness kind of bites you in the ass later on. And this card kind of talks a lot about that. And whenever I look at the Fool personally, I feel like we're all the fool, and the fool is in us all the time, where we really want things to work out and we have the best intentions. But don't let the fine print make you the victim here. And that's what I would say. Like, pay attention to this guy's actions, not what he's saying. I think you've had a lot of, they're talking about a lot of false and flowery promises. Is this like the first round of like a separation, or is this like,
Oh, so we've been divorced now for almost 3 years. I
mhm,
because of his drinking habits and just being immature.
yeah,
And he's done a lot of growing since I left because he's been on his own. And now he needs to quit drinking if he wants to be with me. And I don't know that he is able to do that.
yeah, yeah. Um, so Seven of Swords is your next card, and that comes in, and that talks about like kind of, oh, he needs to choose his mental health because the drinking is a trigger for something else. And you know this. You lived with him, you had a whole marriage with him, and you experienced this, but he has to be ready to choose it.
Yeah.
Um,
And it has to be for him and not me. And I get that. And I don't know that he quite is grasping it either.
no, and I think this Seven of Swords talks about him like also needing to make a choice. Like he has to choose this. And unfortunately, you can't really resolve his mind
Mhm.
to that. So, what you're going to have to do, and what I'm going to caution you to do, is because you're pulling the Daughter of Wands, which is the Page of Wands. So, I feel like there's like a little bit of hope, a little bit that lives inside of you, because our wands is our manifestations, our desires. This can be like desire for money, desire for, the opposite sex, sexual desire. This can be desire for just anything that we're wanting to bring into. Manifestation is also a good word for the wands. Whenever you're looking at the Daughter of Wands, it's the Page of Wands in traditional tarot, and that is newness, new energy. So I definitely think he has really good intentions, but sometimes the best intentions just don't work out. So I would say, even though like there is a lot of goodness in these first three cards, but he's going to have to make the choice. And I think you're going to have to put the boundary of this is what I need to see for us to like, maybe it's you don't move in together, but you are together. Like,
Right.
however that boundary is, because at the end of the day, you got to look out for you because you proved beyond a shadow of a doubt you can take care of yourself. He feels like he still kind of needs a little bit of a crunch.
Yeah. No,
And
we live freeway. I moved very far away to go back to school, and so I did that, graduated, and I am living a successful life, but I also plan on going back to school to get my doctorate. And so he, yeah, there definitely has to be boundaries.
yes, because as I always say on TikTok, I don't know how often you watch me over there, but I'm like, is this the person you can grow in comparison with, or are you growing in opposition with? And
Right,
if we're opposite of each other, then we can't, you're just going to grow away. You're never going to be on the same track. And
right.
that's what you want to align with. So, ooh, the oracle cards that we're kind of picking up is the first one is drink water. And for that one, I always say, like, you have to put your health first, your physical, emotional, and mental health first, because nobody is going to do that but you. And he's going to have to take charge of that, right? And if you see him kind of like not doing that, then you have to back off. And somebody comes in very strong and is like, the point is for you not to be the caretaker of him because that's going to be your whole job. And if that's your whole job and then your nighttime job, then like where is the room for you? There is none. So I would have a lot of very honest self-talks like what do you want from me if this were to continue? Because I don't want to be your caretaker, I want to be your partner.
Right. Well, and I have kind of put that out there. Well, no, I have very clearly put that out there for him. You know, when I come home from a 12-hour shift of emotionally and physically draining work, I want like someone who is willing to have dinner ready for me and be quiet if I need to be quiet and leave me alone if I need to be left alone. And then I also am want that person where I want to go on adventures on my days off or, I don't know. So I put that out there for him. So, and he seems to be receptive to that, but he's also not receptive to where I live. And so I don't know. I guess kind of just want to see where you see my path going. I don't know. Not that you can give me the answers, but anyway, I don't know what I want.
Okay. So I can give you a timeline. I always say it's kind of like, unless I feel like you're physically in danger and you don't feel like you're physically in danger, it's unethical for me to say like get divorced or stay divorced, but I will say that I think you stay there. Wherever you are right now, I think you stay there because you have really good opportunities.
Yeah, I feel that.
Um, the enemy of intuition is self-doubt is your next card. And that is a pretty powerful card because I really want you to pay attention to what is happening around you. I hear a lot of doors opening, like a lot of things. Do you want to stay in the hospital and bedside?
So I do want to stay in the hospital, but I want to move towards nurse practitioner. So, but I do still want it to be acute care, and I think I'm leaning towards palliative care. So,
Yeah, because I was gonna say you have a lot of, how do I say this? A lot of dead people around you. Whenever I read for anybody in healthcare, I'm like, you got a lot of dead people. But
yeah,
that's okay. That's okay. It's not a big deal. It's because it's the nature of your job.
yes,
And so what's interesting is you also pulled God is a goddess, and that is a really powerful card for whenever people are like, pay attention to your intuition. That is also like a sign from spirit. And so I don't know if this guy's going to be willing to move because you want him to move towards you, right? Because we're not moving where he is. Yeah.
Not in the near future. And I don't know if you feel that for me too, but I definitely don't feel, I mean, I was born and raised in Arizona, but I don't feel a draw to go back there. Like I feel honestly a strong opposition to going back there at this current time or even in the next couple of years.
I don't think I don't think you're going to go back into for the next 5 years. Like
Okay.
it feels far away if you go back there.
I agree.
Like it just doesn't that doesn't feel like home for you.
No.
And I would also always say like if you have a place where you've lived for a long time and those hold more of your worst core memories, then people are not going to want to go back there.
I never thought I'd leave, to be honest. But I never thought I'd be divorced either. That was very scary. I didn't like even saying the word divorced. I didn't like saying the word ex for a lot of years, like for a year and a half. And even I still struggle with it. But I also don't feel like I want to go back. Now that I'm here, and I'm in Wisconsin of all places, but I really like it. Um, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I think that palliative care in Green Bay, and I'm thinking about going to Madison in a couple of years, maybe even in a year. I'll have to see.
I see a big yes. Like I think that's going to be a really good place. Like you put yourself in a really good spot. And I want you to be proud of that because you did all of that on your own. Mother of Pentacles comes in and talks about, do you guys have kids? Because that's a very like,
Yes, I have one son. He's 23, and he's not going to leave where he's at. But on the other hand, I've had to tell myself that at 23, did you want, and I'm talking to myself, did I want to be around my mom all the time? No, I did not. And even if I was living in his back pocket, we wouldn't be spending any more time together than we do now. So, and, living apart, we actually make a point to every 6 months do something fun together. So I still feel close to him, and I miss him a ton. I have my son. He's 23, he just turned 23.
awesome. Yeah, but that card is like talks about like the ultimate working woman, working mother, and a lot of like feminine energy, but it sounds like you kind of like have that under wraps. Like you did a really good job with that. But I would definitely say like this is kind of your time to shine. If it wasn't before, whenever you were like raising him and you were like fully focused on mom, I feel like whenever you're doing something, you're very focused. You're like,
Yes,
if this is what I'm doing, then this is all of me.
yes,
And but there's a downside because there's a lot less balance. So what I want you to do is whenever you're moving forward, as far as like the dude, um, we have Seven of Wands in reverse. This kind of talks about you not traveling and staying put for a while. So, they're talking about needing to give him an ultimatum. He's gonna have to give you proof, like proof that he chooses you, because I feel like you chose him for a really long time. And those feelings were not, it's not that they maybe not have been reciprocated, it's just they weren't, you didn't feel like you were chosen. You were like meant to clean up the mess. Like I see you like around just cleaning up little messes, little messes, little messes, and that like filled your time everywhere. And that is just, that's not how it's supposed to be. Um, so you're gonna have to give this dude an ultimatum. And I would say definitely pay attention to what he does, not what he says. And it's not like you need this grand gesture tomorrow. I would just be like, listen, I love my life. And if you want to fit into my life with me, you're going to be the one that has to do the moving. And does he live near the sun? Is he the parent near the sun?
yeah. Actually, I left them both in the same house that we shared together, so they both still live there. So yes,
I feel like his main excuse is going to be like, I can't leave the sun. But the sun's going to be like, free house.
yeah,
Please go.
yeah,
Like he doesn't feel like he's hurting for y'all to leave him at all. Which is fine because that shows like you guys did a really good job.
yeah.
But Father of Cups comes in for the husband and or the ex-husband, and this kind of just talks about like for this reading, he really needs to emotionally get it together. Like, I feel like there's some confusion around like how much the son needs him versus how much he needs his son.
Yes.
Where it's almost like this guy, for whatever reason, just doesn't want to be alone. Maybe he has a lot of like inner thoughts where he cannot be alone with them, and if he's around others, he's not hearing his own thoughts.
That that rings very true. Yes.
So he's gonna have to really, really, really work on that. Temperance talks about you guys, if you guys do get back together and he's like, okay, fine, I will move, son, you have the house, which that's kind of the timeline that I see. Like if he chooses to get back together and get serious, um, you guys are just gonna have to have a lot of patience with each other because it's almost like you have to learn how to live with each other again because you've never lived with him past the divorce again, right? Like
Right.
you left, he left, or he stayed, and that was that.
Yes.
So you guys are gonna have a lot of patience with each other.
Yes.
A lot of patience. I would definitely caution that. But Three of Wands comes in and talks about like if you guys can get on the same page. That's a very like happy collaborative card. I also see you guys like maybe you guys get counseling. Like collaboration means like having a community and like people around you that have like the same values.
Yes.
And
Okay.
so that might be like, I don't know, some people can find that in church, some people find that in psychic medium, some people can just do like a therapist. I think it's all about what you guys want to choose as individuals, but also like together.
Yeah. He needs someone to talk to. I can't be his therapist. I want a partner in life. And I got a actually um a couple months ago because I thought he had moved on with someone. He had been dating someone for a few months, and which was fine, but I graduated school, so I didn't have anything filling up my time. And I was just like, okay, I need to learn how to move forward. And oddly enough, my moving forward brought him back into my life. So, I mean, it's kind of one of those things where if you open up a space mentally, something moves in. I don't necessarily know that that's going to be the right thing. And like you say, I do need to make an ultimatum with him. And I think I need to stop resisting the fact that I am a good enough person to draw towards. And he has 2 years to work towards him earning his pension in retirement. And once he does that, so we're going to be living apart from each other for a couple of years anyway. So there's time for him to figure it out. There's no rushing that. But
Yeah. If you guys get together, I definitely don't see it's going to be like with, like I was going to say, it's not going to be like within this year. Like it seems far away, but he's gonna need to work on like himself. And maybe he doesn't get the gumption to really do that until he's like living with you. And it's almost like something hits and he's like, oh shit, I am the problem. It's gonna have to be something that like hits him in the face for whatever reason. This could be like a disagreement. This could be you just being like, I'm really tired. Did you ever work this type of job whenever you guys were together?
no, I kept a banking job so that I was available for our son to,
Yeah, because he's gonna need like it's almost like he's gonna need proof because he doesn't have there's no like healthcare workers in his family, right? Like he's never,
yeah, his sister.
but was he like living with her whenever she was doing this? Yeah. So he doesn't really have a knowledge of what this type of career choice is going to be like
Oh,
and
and
living with somebody like that.
if, like she's not an RN yet. So she's only ever worked office hours. So yeah, no, he doesn't have any idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Because whenever I ask that question, he pulls the 10 of, you can't see that, the 10 of cups in reverse, and that's usually a no. But so I think it's going to take him like really seeing the scope of what it's like whenever you go into the end of a shift and the beginning of a shift. And be honest, be brutally honest, and don't be afraid to like tell him stories. I think he'll really like that because he will feel included. He feels like somebody that needs to be included. Was he like the middle child or something? Like he's like, I just want to be.
He is the middle child and the only boy, and he very much had a neglected childhood. So he had the older sister, Star, and then he had the younger sister, Brat, and he was like the, you know,
Yeah, yeah, he has a lot of that energy. Ugh. So
yeah, it's
I would say he's going to definitely be somebody that thrives on work stories. If you guys can get to that timeline and like he'll enjoy that.
it does.
That'll
So like he draws away from it because he's like, "Are you sure that's what you want?" Because I'll tell him stories of things that happen at work. He's like, "Seriously? You went really?" And I'm like, "Yes, I love this. I don't know. I work in the ICU and I love it."
Oh, you see a lot of crazy shit there. I used to also work in healthcare and I would float to all the different floors. I was just a CNA, but
Don't say just. I love if it wasn't for CNAs helping me and the nurses, yeah, no. We were in the ICU, as you know, if you floated to the ICU, um, you know, we need you guys. And you work side by side with an ICU nurse. It's not like the floor med surge where you just get told what to do and you flit around and, do all the dirty work. In the ICU, you have to be side by side with that ICU nurse because those people need intense care.
oh yeah, it was definitely a learning curve for me. And I learned the most about empathy and being with people and in that job for as long as I did it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I think he's just gonna need a lot of reminders that you're really good at this. And this is gonna be like what he needs to hear from you is that you like it, that you're happy. And I would use different phrases with him around that. I would say, I feel fulfilled. Like this is giving me purpose, where our son gave me purpose. This is my purpose whenever I'm just me.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to come down to how you phrase it to make light bulbs come on in his head.
Yes.
Not just like the goriness. I would say things like that to make him think.
Okay.
um to give him just better phrasing. Oh gosh, we're down to her last 8 minutes. That went quick.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so the next cards are we'll work them into work environment. So are you wanting to stay where you're at or what are you wanting to do?
I don't know.
You don't know. Do you have job offers for another hospital or for another place?
No, but it's very easy to do. I mean, in the job market, I don't have any other offers. I do have people that I could network with to move into different ICUs, if that's something I should do or look at.
Yeah, so okay. For the current one that you're in, is there a lot of politics on this one?
Yeah, it's a small unit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would be aware of that. And especially for whatever reason, they're talking about contracts, the contracts that you sign,
Yeah.
and the fine print that you read and what that's going to make you do. 10 of Wands comes in, and whenever we see the 10 of Wands, I think if you're going to want to stay in your area, you might not stay at this hospital because the 10, anytime we see the 10, it's the end of things, the end of our desires, the end of our motivation. I don't know what's going to transpire within the next, they're saying 6 to 7 months where we just might not like that particular ICU. So if I were you, I would talk about, or put some feelers out there to find like a different place
Okay.
and
So
just keep your resume like really up to date.
okay. So I could stay with the same company but move to a different ICU if that's
Yeah, I think that's like it's mostly the floor. Like the people make the floor, and I think that's what's going to happen. The Father of Pentacles comes in, and that's also a really good card whenever we're talking about money, career. If you do go on, I think you're going to get like a pretty good promotion or that raise, like at least getting paid more than what you are going to be getting in the next round of contracts. Do you like renew a contract or something?
So in a next October, I either have to choose to stay or for another year or move on. Like I move on companies, but I can move to a different area at any time with the same company.
So that's at the 6 to 7 month mark from right now.
Yeah.
So that pretty much tracks. I think if you choose to go, that you're going to find somewhere really good. Really
Okay.
good. Just be careful at this unit, because Two of Swords comes in and talks about things that might really mess you up, things that you can't anticipate, things that you can't see right now that are far away that could really, and this could be like a blocked promotion, this could be, a really bad work relationship. They're also talking about a patient that might unfortunately pass that like kind of messes you up. So I would be,
Emotionally.
yeah, I think it's going to be like more emotionally. Um, so I would be aware. They're talking about, I don't know why this is so significant, but they're talking about it being like, and this could be anybody, this is so silly, where they start off really, really good and they think that you're gonna like completely pull through and then they just go. And I don't know why, but it's almost like you take it really, really to heart, or you got really close to this patient, but that feels like just like the straw that broke the camel's back. For whatever reason, in this that they're seeing, it's going to be like the environment is just kind of shitty, and then the patient, and then you're really like, I gotta fucking like leave. It's almost like you look at your pay stub a little bit and you're like, is this really worth it? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? But I feel like you're going to get an opportunity just like that. And it's going to be more money and happier.
Okay. So you think it's like where I was that the reason why the patient passed, or that I should choose like to not be in the ICU? I mean, what do you mean?
So I think it's going to be like, it's going to be circumstantial. Like the patient's going to pass and then you're going to stay, I think, in the ICU for right now. And then you're going to move on whenever your contract renews. But I think the patient passing and you just having a rough time with it is going to be like the motivation that you need to be like, I think it's time to go. And I know that can happen like at any hospital in any instance. But it's almost like this is like the last thing, like your last straw for whatever reason. And 6 to 7 months is such a long time from now. And like keep me updated because I'm so curious about this now. But you are gonna come across like a different place because we're pulling dreams and like hold steady to like this vision and this dream of where you want to go, what you want to be doing as far as your career is going to go. You want to find somewhere where you can be like this is playfulness. So somewhere where you can be comfortable, somewhere where you can feel joy, not just all the heavy shit. And unfortunately, in the environment that you're in, like some floors, that's all it is like we come for work is bad, everybody's sad, this is how it is. And you are not going to be in a really good spot in that. So you want to find somewhere where there's like camaraderie, where you guys can come together and like take care of people together, but also be together for each other, because that's going to be a big deal.
Yes.
Harmony comes in and talks about, it's kind of like you were in the right place at the right time. I think this new job opportunity that's going to find you is going to be like a referral, like networking, kind of like you said. It's going to be the right place, the right time, and it's almost like you're going to get hired on the spot. Like you're going to leave and have another job the next day.
Okay.
It's going to be very like instantaneous. And then Sanctuary comes in and talks about like you're gonna kind of land on your feet and you're gonna be really good at the end of this year. So if you're somebody that had a really shit 2024, 2023, this is the thing I'm talking about where this is like you're gonna have an amazing 2025. For whatever reason, I don't know why. And I think it's because this is the year of the hermit energetically for all of us, where if you weren't focusing on you, it's going to shine a light to force you to focus on you. But you've already been doing that for so long that you're like, you're going to have a great year.
It's the time to settle into what I've created.
Yes, exactly. You said it better than I did. Way to go, you.
Uh,
Yeah. So
Right.
we have less than a minute now. That's crazy. Did you want to extend or is this it? Like, doesn't matter to me either way. This is your time.
I think this is good for now.
Okay.
And yeah, well, yeah, I think this,
Okay.
thank you. Because it just
Awesome.
confirms where I thought I was heading. And yeah, I think it's all good.
Yay! I love it. Of course. Well, as soon as this reading is done processing, I'll send you a copy of it, okay? And you're gonna get a text pictures of all your cards that you pulled, and I'll send that to your email, okay?